going to hit record because I want to bring on our next speaker, Tanya Tyus Parker. We've got the two Tanyas with us today. And she is the owner of Soulpreneur. And she teaches women how to, and I suspect men too, but teaches women how to run a business from the soul and follow your gut and your instincts and that sort of thing. And so, Tanya P., if you will teach us what you know, I'm going to mute myself and please take it away.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Tanya Tyus Parker, and I teach women and men how to put on legendary events. How many of you have ever tried to put on an event and found that it was way more trouble than it was worth? You get it, Barney, huh?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, way more trouble than it was worth. Why didn't I pass this on to someone else? Um, and after all this running around and weeks of promotion and marketing, there's still a ton of things I didn't do, and I didn't make any money. Oh my God. So one of the things that I've discovered is that there are some common mistakes that we all make when we try to plan an event. It takes a lot of planning to make an event profitable. One of the things that people tend to do is that they have no idea of a budget. They figure, well, I don't have any money, so I don't need to put together a budget because how can you budget when you have nothing? And we all know that we balance a checkbook when there's nothing in it, down to the penny. So when you're doing an event, you want to do the same thing. You want to know what it's going to cost so you know how to set a price point for tickets and different things like that. Another mistake that I find that people make is that they don't extend personal invitations to people. They depend on Facebook and instant message and email and Eventbrite to do all the talking for them. But when you're in a relationship building type of environment, and that's what brings people to your event, is the relationships that you have with people. So you want to extend personal invitations to them. And then a lot of people, they'll go to an event or they'll have an event and they'll forget to mention the next event. They'll forget to promote what they're doing next. I've also seen them where there's some people who give so much content that you have to stand up and take your phone and take a picture of what the slideshow says because they've moved on to the next subject and you're still trying to catch up. Another one thing that often happens along with the too much content is that they don't leave enough time for questions and answers. It's more of you have an event where you're being talked to and you're not being allowed to participate in the event. You never get your voice in the room. Those are just some of the things that people do that keeps them from being profitable at an event. When women used to get together back in the old days, they called it a hen party because men could never understand how we were having so much fun, how we were laughing so hard. But when you get a group of women in the room, there's just a certain kind of energy that happens. And so I have to say I thoroughly enjoy putting on events for women and teaching women how to put on events, because we have what's called a girl magic. And when you get a group of women together and we're all on one accord and we're there to have a good time and we're there to learn some things and meet some people it takes on a whole different kind of synergy. Not that we don't want men in the room, but when we bring a man into a group of women having an event, it really changes the dynamic of the group. And that can be good or that can be bad, but it does change the energy in the room. And girls still want to have fun, whether they're in business and they're having their first book launch or whatever the case may be, they really still want that to be a fun, memorable, and legendary event. Um, and for women, when we're in a group, even in those of us who come from the corporate world, who have been in groups where we're the one woman or the only two women in a group of men, it's very hard for us to get our voice in the room. So when we get that opportunity and we host our own events, we get to hear ourselves. We get to give other women the opportunity to be heard. And they get to get their voice in the room. And that's just a very empowering technique that anybody who gives an event should really be conscious of. So that's kind of the hard part about giving an event. The method that I've developed that will help you in putting on an event that's legendary, and let me explain to you what I mean by legendary. Legendary is an event that you do once, and before that event is over, people want to know, when are you going to do it again? Tony does legendary events. His Women of Influence is a legendary event. People look forward to that event every year. And when that event is no longer available, people are going to miss it. Tanya Hoffman and the PSA conference in Las Vegas, legendary event. If it's not there and it's not being given in some way, shape, or form, someone is going to miss that event. So we want to all have events that people look forward to every year, or every 6 months, or every 3 months. So that's what's meant by legendary events. Utilizing what I call the soul method helps pull these legendary events together. By soul method, I mean systems, organization, uniqueness, and this will all help it become legendary. Systems allow for you to run a smooth event. I know people hate systems. I don't want to make a list. Why should I make a list? I don't need a checklist for that. Lists make me crazy. Lists keep you organized. List gives you an opportunity to put systems into place. There should be a system for how you evaluate a venue. There should be a system for how you put together your team and share the values that you want your team to have, so that everybody that enters the event is getting the same sense of value from everyone there that is participating and working your event. You should also have in place a system for the front of the room. Who's bringing you things to drink? You, as a person putting on the event or speaking at the event, should not have to run and go get a glass of water, or run and go get to this, and you should have people there available on your team to help do those things. These are systems that you want to have in place. You want to have a system in place for how people can connect with you, someone there to set appointments, someone there to connect with people during the event as you sell product, as you bring things to the table that they can connect with, that will follow up with them, or give you the information, get their information so you can follow up with them. So that's a kind of a back of the room system. Another system that you want to have in place is one where you know what revenue generating streams you're going to use. We're not going to go have an event and sell everything we own. I think that becomes a little, how you say, Tanya Hoffman, transactional. So you really want to make sure that you have narrowed down what those revenue streams are and you have a system in place. You're not going to blurt them all out at once. When are you going to talk about them? How are they going to fit into the presentation that you're giving? And one of my favorite systems to put in place is the system of, how do I put this? Of not letting people be shooed out of the room. Okay, guys, we got the room until it's 5 o'clock. We got the room until 5:30. Everybody, you got to go. You don't have to stop talking, but you can't stay here. So one of my favorite systems to put in place is the no shooing policy. This will add to your ability to be able to begin to develop relationships with people who have come to the event that you may not know, people who will get a chance to network with each other. So I always book at least an hour and a half to 2 hours after an event, which will give the team time to break down, but it will more importantly give me a time as the person giving the event to circulate, to meet, to have the women meet each other and talk and set up appointments to network amongst themselves. So those are some of the systems that you want to put in place. The next thing you want to do is to optimize your opportunities for profit by organizing your event. Organizing everything from, are we going to serve food? If we're going to serve food, is it better for me to have someone cater it? Is it better for me to make some sandwiches and have everybody have a sack lunch? Um, Organizing the decorations. What is that going to look like? Am I going to have flowers on the table? Am I going to keep it simple? What are things that go with my brand that will that I need to organize to make sure that it doesn't come off like a couple of events I've gone to where people are trying to appeal to the different kind of learners in the room. So on the table, they've got crayons and paper, coloring papers and slinkies and Play-Doh. And some of those things are really nice, but you can't do that and have flowers on the table. So you've got to try to organize these things and know what you want to do and walk it through with your team so that if you're going to have flowers, then just have flowers. That will help you know what you need to budget for. You know, one thing is going to cost a little more than the other. So the one thing that will help you with profitability. The same thing with food. If you're going to use a caterer, it probably was going to be a little bit more. But you may make that up on the back end by having more time to do the things that you need to do because you don't have to worry about making sandwiches or making lasagna or whatever it is you choose to feed people. Um, Another organizational thing that helps with profitability is having another, I want to say, system in place for how you're going to market your event and promote your event ahead of time. You need to know what there needs to be a calendar that allows you to organize when you're going to run this ad, when you're going to have, what time of the day are you going to make calls, because you still need to make those sales calls every day and personal invitation time every day to try to get people to fill your event. Filling an event is 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 profit in and of itself. So if you're not reaching out and making those phone calls, you're not optimizing the your ability to be profitable at this event. Um, and this needs to be done with every system that you put in place from start to finish. Uniqueness. You want to really use the your brand and make each event unique to your brand. Women, we have a way of we're so creative, and there's a lot of us who have what I call creative idea syndrome. Oh my God, this is such a great idea. Oh, let's do this. Oh, let's do that. Oh my God, damn, we can have that. We can have that. And we can mesh it all together. And it's exhausting. By the end of the event, you're exhausted, and people can't remember whether you had beautiful flowers or it was the 50,000 balloons that you had flying around. It had nothing to do with nothing. But your brand is holistic, namaste things, and you got balloons everywhere. So making an event unique to your brand is very important. It's going to cause you to have to do some personal growth and some personal thought into what kind of how you want people to leave the event feeling. And this is one of those things where you really need to take the end of the event and look at the outcome and back yourself into what happens during the event and what atmosphere you want to create during the event. Some of us are very clear on that. Some of us we can get one piece of it, but we might need to talk it over with some other people and talk it over with our teams to kind of make sure that things are congruent. It's just like if a person is planning a wedding, you very seldom find an elegant wedding with balloons. A more celebratory wedding or birthday party, you can have balloons. But those are things that you want to have things like that and look at things that are unique to your brand. You want to make an imprint on people that they know, hey, I saw this pretty purple angel. You know who that reminded me of? That reminded me of so and so. She does purple angels and blah blah blah. And it becomes unique to you so that when people see it, they kind of think about you and think about the event that they attended with you and the good time that they had and how they felt. Okay, the L stands for legendary. Again, uniquely creating an event that is memorable and keeping people coming back year after year. Um, you want to give out little goodies. Women, we love to get stuff. We don't care where it comes from. We love the raffle. We love the prize. We love to get chocolate. Almost as much as we love to get our voice in the room. we we like it when we're appreciated, when we see other people or the person that's facilitating or giving the event say thank you to their team in public, that they get gifts, whether it's just a little rose or packets of tea that you've taken time to personalize for each individual person that you want to say thank you to. That you that you try to remember to use a team, that you don't think that you are the end all and begin all of everything. If you try to do it all yourself, you'll be legendary, but you'll be really tired. Sometimes people say, well, it's just me and I just do, and nobody's going to do it like me, and so I don't really want to be bothered with everybody's opinion and blah blah blah. But we even if it's just one team member, just one wife, one husband, a couple of kids, that can help you with the event will pull it all together and help make it a little more legendary for you, and probably keep some hair on your head at the same time. So, how I can help you is to do this is by attending a boot camp I have coming up on the 24th and 25th of this month. It's an hour and a half, 90-minute workshop for 2 days in a row. And we're going to go and delve more into um, how to do events. Um, I have a couple of different programs. One of them is a program by which I coach you through the event. I can also do it side by side with you. If you are local, I will come to your event. I will walk you through the process. We will, during the boot camp, we will learn how to, we'll discuss revenue streams. We'll make, how to make it, we'll discuss team building and planning. We'll discuss, I said budget and revenue streams. Um, we'll talk about the unique guest experience and how to build influence with your guests. And we'll go over some more mistakes more individually that you have made or things that you've learned from. This group will be kept small over those 2 days because I really want to make sure that we get an opportunity to answer your questions. You get an opportunity to feel heard, and we can work on some problems, because believe you me, you're not the only one having these challenges. There are a lot of us that have these challenges. Some of us can give you some forewarning to some things that you may encounter. So that is September 24th and 25th. That's a Monday, the last Monday and Tuesday of this month. Right now, it's $75 for one day, or $67 for both days. Not $67 each, but $67 for 2 days. And for listening today on Tony's Virtual Summit, you get an additional $10 off. So thank you for listening. My name is Tanya Tyus Parker from Legendary Events.
All right, Tanya, thank you so much. Wonderful tips as always. I've got a few questions that I want to ask, and then we can open it up to everyone else. You and I have had multiple conversations about, oops, your camera's going.
Sorry.
Going haywire.
Things fell over. Oh my gosh.
Hey, when that happens. You and I have had multiple conversations about dealing with speakers, and I have a no divas or divo rule when working in speakers, because I deal with a lot of speakers. Mm-hmm. What are your rules for working with other speakers?
What are my what?
What are your rules for dealing with other speakers?
Well, I don't have any rules. I do have a set of values, and that is, if you don't want my opinion, don't ask. I may not tell you what you want to hear, but I will tell you what you need to hear.
Okay.
I do. Those are just so you have to be open to wanting help, and to help in developing a clear vision, which will be your own vision, but at the same time, there are things that we can all learn.
Okay. Talk to me a little bit about speakers not showing up or wanting more stage time, because you sort of handle things from the planning and execution standpoint, and I handle things more from doing the event, but I know you've got some thoughts on this.
I'm very clear, and in the interest of being fair with speakers about the amount of time that they have. I tend to not really run into a lot of speakers who want more time. I run into speakers at events who spend more time having too many speakers there, and they don't speak themselves. They don't set themselves up as the center of the program, but they've got 20 different speakers over a 3-day event, and nobody remembers who it was whose event it is.
Yeah.
And so those speakers are getting maybe 10 or 15 minutes. So it becomes a total transactional relationship with this speaker. And, you know, it can be a little difficult.
Yeah, as you know, I do 30 minutes. I give the speakers that I work with a half an hour. And, you know, there have been speakers who have said, oh, I need more than a half an hour. Well, the reason why I do that for anyone who's watching this after, you know, we're off air, the reason why I do that is because the whole point to this is to give the speakers an opportunity to teach what they know in sort of bite-sized increments without giving away the farm, right? It gives the audience sort of an idea of who you are and what you do, and then, you know, within 30 minutes, they can sort of make a decision, oh, I want to work with this person, I really like what they have to say, or this isn't really a fit for me, and let's move on to the next speaker. You know,
but I think they do get some nuggets if you're focusing on that 30 minutes. You got to get to the point.
Well, that's true.
You really have to get to the point. And when people can't narrow down things into a 30-minute conversation, a lot of it is stuff they should put into a program anyway.
Yeah. One last quick question before we open it up. Talk to me a little bit about, or if you have any thoughts on using PowerPoint.
PowerPoint is the vein of my existence. I do not use PowerPoint. I'm just not that inclined. I'm from the old school. I'd rather have a piece of paper in my hand, something that I can touch and feel, and if I need to make notes, I can do that. If I need to go back and look at it, it's right there. They haven't moved on to the next slide. But I really love it when people take a slide and there's so much writing in it that I can't see or read what they have, or that they don't know their presentation well enough to the point where if something goes wrong with the PowerPoint presentation, their mind is blown, their attitude sucks, and then it's everybody's fault except for the PowerPoint presentation in and of itself.
And I would agree with you.
I try not to do PowerPoint presentations. I'd rather spend the money on printing.
I agree with you. I am of the school where if you're really good giving good content, you don't really need PowerPoint. I think some speakers rely on PowerPoint a little too much, and then if PowerPoint doesn't work, then they kind of freak out because it's, well, my whole presentation was you know, based on the PowerPoint presentation, which tells me they don't really know their content very well. They're focused too much on the PowerPoint and the showmanship and not on the actual content, which I think is more important. But that's just.
And I think PowerPoint is a corporate type activity. I don't know that when you really want to reach someone's soul, someone's heart, someone's feelings, that you do that through a PowerPoint presentation. I coming from corporate all those years ago, that's what we used PowerPoint for. It was for facts and figures. It was really for It wasn't meant for you to ask questions.
Absolutely.
It really didn't engage you. It didn't get your voice in the room. It was sit down, pay attention, look at this, write that down, and that's all I got to say.
Absolutely. So I'd like to open it up to anyone else who has a comment or a question for Tanya. And if you do, please unmute yourself. And while you're doing that, Tanya, if you can type in your website and contact information so people can reach out to you, I would certainly appreciate that. And Tanya H. has something I think she wants to say.
Well, I just wanted to say yes. And it's always great when you're around the same peeps and we all have like, Tony can talk and you can talk, Tanya, and I can talk, and we're all like, yeah. Because I've been on other ones and I'm like, what? No. And yeah, so you did an awesome job. Loved it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'd love to comment.
Okay.
Tanya, what a wonderful job. That was beautiful. I loved a number of different things that you did, but one of the things that was most powerful to me, aside from the clarity of thought and the pace that you set up, was when you talked about making sure you know what you want out of that particular event.
Right.
Everything having to be aimed at that. I call it a vision, looking at it from the other end. What do you want this to look like when you're all when it's all done and said? And I think a lot of times, I mean, I could go back and look at lots of events that I've been through over the years and over the years, and a great deal of them don't get to that result of it. And so I just commend you. I have to comment on that. I don't know that I have a lot of questions. Nothing that wouldn't take us hours to talk about. So, but I gotta say, way to go. Way to go. Super.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right. Sounds good. And I think that is it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to